You may have regarded it as little more than a haven for an impromptu toilet stop, or the environmentally conscientious choice for dealing with your neighbour's bloody cat.
Central to life in London over the centuries, and indeed the very reason for its existence, lies in that great body of water known as the Thames. Over the years it supplied the population with food, oysters, fish, salmon, until the mid-1800s when, strangely enough, they disappeared around the same time as it was decided to treat the river as a ginormous toilet. Its currents have brought with it trade, exotic goods, treasures, spices, and with it, employment. Employment that was largely concentrated in the East End, including here at St Catherine's Docks. Sailors, shipbuilders, customs officials that were housed in the customs house behind me. The list goes on and on. But one line of employment that's often overlooked is the great source of income it brought to the residents of the area with a more questionable set of morals. Of course, we know about pirates and smugglers. What about monkey suckers? No, it's not an Indian delicacy. As trade boomed, the demands being placed on the London riverside were enormous, and so boats could be laid up for what seemed like an eternity waiting to be unloaded. And of course, this proved to be too much of a temptation for some members of the London community. Of the estimated 37,000 Dockland employees, 11,000 of them were criminals. One man, unable to resist the idea of being surrounded by 60,000 casks of brandy, managed to wedge his head inside one, but choked to death before a single drop touched his lips. But usually the criminals were a little more cunning. You had Scuffle Hunters. These were guys who would organise mass brawls on badly managed quays. In the madness that would follow, they would make their escape, stealing goods and hop from boat to boat across to the other side of the river and make their escape. Then you had Mudlarks who would hang around the base of the ships, collecting anything that fell off, and then they'd run off with it. You also had monkey suckers. These were teenage boys who hadn't yet developed a taste for liquor, and they were employed to siphon off gallons of wine or brandy, whatever could be found. It was a great job for a youngster, unless they suffered what was common to many and allowed the fumes to overcome them and wake up in jail. Then you had the dockers themselves. They could end off a hard shift by wandering home with their pockets bulging full of cigars, copper, whatever they could find. One man was caught red-handed limping off into the night with a frozen leg of mutton stuck to his leg. He'd been kept in the deep chill. There was even a case of 3 dockers leaving the site one evening, except when they were apprehended they were found to be only 2 men. And one was a pig's carcass dressed up in a shabby suit and a hat. But by 1797, these big shipping companies had had just about enough of losing £1 million a year due to petty theft, which back then was worth about £1 million a year. And so the Marine Police Force was formed to be headed up by Thomas Colquhoun and John Harriot. Now this police force was the first anywhere in the world to wear a uniform and predated the police force to patrol the land by about 30 years, so it really was cutting edge. These guys would patrol up and down the River Thames in boats with cutlasses and blunderbusses, and immediately their patrols had effect. A group of hundreds of out-of-work criminals stormed the headquarters in Wapping, throwing rocks through the windows, setting the place on fire, and John Harriot, who was trapped inside with only 6 men, fought his way out and became a hero. It's needless to say that the formation of the Marine Police was a great success. To this day, they patrol 54 miles of river from Deptford Creek all the way out to here in Staines Bridge. So whilst you're doing the right thing and keeping the clientele of Battersea dogs and cats home to a minimum, whilst enjoying the philosophy of survival of the fittest, just relax and know that you're only the first in a long line of many who saw the Thames as an opportunity to think outside of the box. Some tell tales, others rhyme, but I sing songs from the Howling Sea.
If you're wondering what on earth you just witnessed, you've been watching a video from the Songs from the Howling Sea podcast. Each week I release a song and a video about a person or a subject from London's East End. 52 songs in 52 weeks. For more, visit www.songsfromthehowlingsea.com.